Well, hello, Team Replay, and welcome to another edition of Let's Get Visible, Visible. I want to get visible. You got that right. Laura Connor here, your partner in getting visible to help you grow your business, attract the clients you want, increase your impact, position yourself as a leader in your industry, and open up doors that you never imagined could be open to you. It's all when you get visible, my friend, all when you get visible. So we're here today. I want to say thank you for joining. Again, day 21 of my 30 days of lives with Laura. This has been actually cool. 3 weeks in a row. And while I've gotten here sometimes a bit late, like at 9:30, even something to 10 at night, a couple of nights, I've been here every day. And this has been a lesson in consistency and setting a goal and sticking to it. And it's just been a really nice journey. I've gotten to where I'm comfortable now, to the point that I've invited a couple of my friends on the live streams. Yes, today you're in for a major treat. I have an amazing lady here. We're going to talk about preventative health and a whole bunch of things and marketing and getting yourself visible. But before we get into that, I wanted to tell you about my event that I went to last night. Last night, I went to Helen X's and Gina's Once Upon a Woman, Tales of Intergenerational Wisdom. They had an event, first time working together, they had an event for women ages 20 through 70. And we had 6 different speakers, plus the hosts, Helen and Gina, and they talked about body image and growing up and comfortable and just really ready to show out in the body that they had. And it was so fun. It was a great evening, over 100 people. And I bring that up again because, number one, I said yesterday, that's what I was going to tell you. I was going to tell you how it went. And yesterday's live was all about collaboration and cooperation. And what was the other word? There was collaboration, community. No. Okay, I got it here now. Community, number one, which Helen and Gina have grown great communities. Cooperation and being supportive of everyone and people to help other people have success. And then collaboration over competition. And last night was a prime example as to how no one was in competition with each other. There were people who are speaking to the same audiences that they showed up to support Helen and Gina and to make it a fantastic event. There was no bad vibes. It was just an amazing event. Everything about being visible, and the 6 women that put themselves out on the stage really showed their vulnerability, and they were so inspiring to everybody that was in the audience. It was just an amazing event. If you haven't checked out Helen X, I don't even know how to pronounce her last name, but I'll tag them a bit later and put them in the comments. Helen and Gina, if you haven't connected with them, they're great women, and especially the women that were talking about menopause and what are the and I can relate to everything she was saying, with the hot flashes and the breaking up the fan, even in church. I do that. It was just a great event. So I will connect and I'll comment on about them so you can connect with them in the comments. All right. Deanna, nice to have you here. I'm so glad that you're able to catch the live. Deanna's going to be one of our guests next week, so you want to tune into that. Matter of fact, I'm glad you're here because I'm sure you and Margaret would be great people to connect with. I mean, you're kind of in similar complementary spaces, so definitely I'm glad you're here. And now I think it's time for me to bring on my special guest. What do you think? If I got a yeah, say yeah. Okay, so without any further ado, let's bring in my good friend here, Miss Margaret Wallis-Duffy. Hello.
Hi, Laura. Hello. I am so excited and honored to be here with you this afternoon. And I got to tell you, before we do anything, I just want to talk about collaboration over competition, talk about being better together and elevating one another. That is my mantra. I just want to give you a high five virtually for leaning in, for being vulnerable, for showing up and being consistent and helping others by doing this for 21 days straight. You go, girl. And quite honestly, if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't have met. Yes. And so I'm really want to celebrate you for what you're doing and what you're sharing, because it's hard to do what you're doing. You're making it look easier and easier. I've been watching every day, and you're getting better and better, and that fires me up. So I was honored to be asked to be here today. I can't wait for this conversation about all the things we're passionate about, and we share some of those passions. And we'll just, I'm just happy to be here. And I wanted to congratulate you on your success so far in this this 1 month challenge that you're in. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. And listen, I have to tell you publicly, I've told you privately, but thank you so much for supporting me. The first couple of days, you and Mark DeLeon, you were there every day. You were bigging me up, making me feel, okay, yes, I can do this. And I really appreciate you. I really, really, really appreciate you. So I'm so glad that here, day 21, you are here. Yes. All right. So now I know a little bit about you, but I don't think everybody else does. So how about you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to do that. So my name is Margaret Wallis-Duffy. I'm the founder of Wallis for Wellness, an award-winning integrative and preventative health clinic that I operated for 30 successful years. I've got a background in kinesiology from the University of Waterloo, post-grad in massage therapy. I've gone on to do my professional designation as a consultant in aging. I am passionate about preventative and integrative health because of my own health story, which I know we're probably going to get into. And a year and a half ago, when I decided to change the trajectory of my career after 3 decades from this practitioner that, that was running a big integrative clinic with over 45,000 patients in her database, 90% doctor referral, I was ready to take my clinical experience, my business experience, my media experience, and really go to this next chapter, this Wallis for Wellness 2.0 chapter of my career, where I'm going to take all of that knowledge to change the legacy of healthcare in this country. One from a reactive pill for an ill, wait till it's broken mindset, to one that's more proactive, empowering, preventative healthcare system. And the way to do that is by reaching Canadians and companies and government and everyone to stock their preventative health toolbox and to build their health esteem so they can be the CEO of their health. And certainly getting visible that's what caught my attention. I'm going to tell all of the people watching, if you hadn't got vulnerable and got visible, we wouldn't have met. And this is just speaks to the volume of why it's so important to share stories and to be out there, but most importantly, to be authentic. So that's my story. I'm a mother of 2 growing, amazing humans, and I've been brought a new bone scan to Canada with a colleague, Megan Burmester from OsteoSound. It's a game-changing technology that's really a disruptor. So I love innovation. I love being a disruptor, and I love doing new things. So today it's a new thing when I get to do something like this with a new friend like you.
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh. All right. So you covered a whole heap there. Whole heap. Now, first of all, I have to say, Mark, you and Mark were there ready for me at the beginning. Hi, Mark. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Now, Margaret, tell me, preventative health. You said a year and a half ago you decided to change or transition a little bit. But when we think about preventative health, well, do we even think about it? Do you think the Canadians think about preventative health, or do you think otherwise? What do you think about that?
I think a lot about this, and this has been 3 decades of my life's work, and it's because of my own health journey, which we'll get into in a minute. But I think now more than ever, yes, Canadians are starting to think about preventative health. And although we've all walked through and continue to walk through really a collective trauma, which was the pandemic, I think one of the things out of all of that, all of the tough things we've been through, the one really positive thing that the pandemic has done, I believe, it's waking people up to their wellness. And why is it doing that? Well, because we've relied on this pill for an ill, passive approach, fix me doc, we're not accountable. We're not the CEOs of our health. We're literally just walking around waiting until we get a diagnosis, and then we want a quick fix, a pill for an ill. And don't get me wrong, I'm a science girl, so there's a need for pharmacology. I've got friends that are surgeons and pharmacists, and there's a time and a place for conventional medicine. But there's equally, and is profoundly true, a need for complementary and preventative medicine. That's the space as a professional I exist in. And I think when the pandemic hit and the system being so strained because we've got a sick care system instead of a health care system, people want to help themselves, but they don't know where to turn, Laura. They don't know what to do. And so it's straining the system even more. And when the pandemic hit, you can't see your doctor. You can't get that surgery. We were apart from one another, which causes a whole lot of other mental and physical health issues from being apart. And hence why being visible through the screen, it reminded me when I see you dance. My daughter and I had a COVID kitchen dance party to help spread kindness during the pandemic, because we couldn't physically be together. I touch people for a living, and I needed to continue to do that in a virtual way. So I think mindsets of Canadians are slowly changing. They're fearful because they don't know how, and that's the job. And that's why the time was now for me to really focus this next stage of my career on empowering people to get into the driver's seat of their health, to feel empowered with tools so they can have better health esteem, so they can advocate for themselves. And I really believe that we as people are the most important member of our healthcare team. And we work alongside the doctor and the surgeon and the naturopath and the massage therapist and the dietitian. But we are the most important member of that. So I think it's mindsets changing, but do we have a lot of work to do? Yes. Do we have a system that doesn't support it as well as it should? Yes. And that's why I'm determined to play my part in changing the legacy of healthcare so that our kids and future grandkids will have a different system to exist in than they do now.
Oh, wow. All right. All right. So Deanna says, yes, prevention and proactive. So I'm telling you, the two of you need to connect. The two of you definitely need to connect. All right. So Margaret, then tell us, how do we take the driver's seat and not be like someone who's never driven before, but take control of it? And how do we do that? What's the first step that someone should do?
Well, I think the first step are starting the conversations like you're doing right now, which is why I commend you for doing this. When we talk about getting visible, we have to get visible with ourselves. We have to live inside our own bodies and pay attention and listen. Because if you do this and this and this, it doesn't mean it changes the outcome. In fact, if you're not listening to our bodies, you're going to get a diagnosis whether you like it or not. But if we tend to listen, because it's scary sometime to listen, and so we don't want to hear, because what if I listen and I hear something I don't want to know about? But how do we create change if we're not listening? So I think there are so many things we can do mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Those are the pillars of wellness that make up overall well-being. And as a massage therapist, I may physically touch people for a living, but I will tell you that in my 3 decades of clinical work, there is no question scientifically that the mind and body are connected, and our body is a house for our emotions. And over time, if it manifests and it's not dealt with through nutrition, through exercise, through mindfulness, through movement, sometimes through pharmacology, through a wide range of integrative approaches to health, it results in dis-ease. The physical manifestation of emotional pain, it's real. This is scientific, and it's not woo-woo, hug a tree, howl at the moon stuff that people used to think 30 years ago. My father, rest his soul, I've got great parents and always supporters of me. I told him I was going into massage therapy 31, almost 32 years ago. My own family, me, the science girl, thought, you're going to do what? I wouldn't even hang my postgraduate diploma because it said masseuse, because I knew I was a therapist and I had a vision. Fast forward 30 years later, we've come a long way, but we got a long way to go. And I'm here to say that everyday Canadians, if you start to listen to your body first, have these conversations, find your team, which is community. You talked about community at the beginning of your talk today. Community is critical. Who's on your team? Who's in your community, both from a conventional medicine and a complementary medicine perspective? You'll never hear me, Laura, say the word alternative medicine. Think about that.
Why?
Because it means you do this or you do that. I believe we're better together. We need to have our complementary medical professionals, our massage therapists, our naturopaths, our physios, working alongside with conventional medical doctors and pharmacists and surgeons. That's what I achieved at Wallis for Wellness. And that's what I'm determined to do for all practitioners. That's why I do coaching for other healthcare professionals, so that they can believe in themselves to bring the both sides of the equation together, and that we can collaborate and not be competitive, but collaborate, because we all have something to add to this wheel of wellness. And we can't do it alone. So I'm confident in my clinical skills, but I'm also want to learn and lean in on the confident skills of the naturopath and the surgeon. When I ran a clinic, I had all these practitioners working together, surrounding the patients that came to our clinic, because there isn't one solution to every problem. So when you ask me, how do we start with preventative health? We open our mindset first to change. And then we look at all the things we can be doing, and progress over perfection. Change doesn't happen overnight. You didn't get to where you are overnight. If have had headaches for 40 years, they're not going to go away in one quick second, but there's so many things we can be doing to help ourselves. If we're willing first, it's a mindset shift. And that's why when you ask me to come and speak, I'll speak anywhere. I do a lot of television work. I've got a podcast, but grassroots things like this, they're equally as important, because then we're connecting with real people, telling real stories. That's how we get visible with our message, which is exactly what you're talking about in getting visible with your brand. For me, visibility is education, and it's a platform to share stories, and that's empowerment.
And great points. And I've found that even by sharing my journey with my son's diagnosis of autism, it helps other people. It helps them to become more aware of autism and people that are living with it. And it causes them to have a different mindset to when they see kids on the street or in the community that may be on the spectrum. So the whole community and sharing is, I find, I've felt it and experienced that even with dealing with that for my son. And so it definitely is the visibility and getting people out there, getting your message out there with your experiences is really vital and really important. And
it means you're not alone, because we're not. And especially now in the world we're living in, where there's high levels of anxiety and depression and trauma, isolation is a really bad thing. It impacts our health. There's research to support this. So by sharing your story authentically and vulnerably, and whatever your story is, you have a child with autism, you've got depression, you're an addict, whatever your story is, when we show up authentically and we share vulnerably, I mean, I'm sure you know of a lot of the research Brene Brown does on the science of vulnerability. It changes the game. It changes chemicals in our brain. And when we connect with others and be in community where we can learn and grow from one another and feel like we're being supported, that's how change happens, both with us, with community, and then ultimately with society. And I tell you, I think that I've chosen now to be the next stage of my career, because I really feel that our society needs change now more than ever on so many levels. I mean, if the pandemic and all the fallout of that, from a racial perspective, from a prejudice perspective, we can go on and on and on. We're people, and we need to come together, honor ourselves, have our voice. And to me, that whole idea and that's why it caught me. I didn't even know who Laura Connor was. And I happened to see her live, and I thought, I like this woman's energy. And then you hooked me, which is good. That's part of the thing, right? Media training. I've been a media spokesperson for many large brands. And one thing, it's about communication. But the reason you hooked me, I'll tell you, because you were authentic. You were real. You weren't wearing a mask and trying to be someone else. Yes, you took Toastmasters, and that's to build your muscle, your confidence muscle. That's great. But you're you. I'm me, and you can't show up as someone else. And when you do, people read through it. So you attracted me because of your energy and your authenticity, right? And so that's why we're having this conversation. I did not know Laura 21 days ago. How cool is that?
Very cool. Very, very cool. But I'm so glad I know you now, Margaret. So glad.
Me too. Me too.
So we have a couple comments here. Deanna says that her chiropractor and her RMT are on her wellness team. Speaking
Yay!
back to what you said, not just one person, it's a team of people. So that's good. And
Yeah.
Linda, what's happening, Linda? She's saying hello to us. So hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining us today, Linda. And Mark has a question.
Chilman.
I don't know if you see Linda Chillman. Yes.
Hi,
Let's say
Linda.
you. Yeah, Linda knows you, right? Isn't that's okay?
Yes.
All right. Mark asks a question here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can see it, but he asks, I'm going to ask a question that may not be popular. I'm often exasperated with people who are selling Reiki, healing oils, and the like. Do they actually fit into the preventative health framework, or is that just all snake oil?
I can see the comments.
I can read. I hope that meant.
I see the comments and I love it. And I'll tell you what, Mark, I'll tell you this very candidly, because I'm a science girl, but I love skeptics and I love people that challenge, because we need to be critics. We need to, because otherwise, if we're not doing the work and we're not being critical, then we really can't find out what truly is good. And I will tell you this. If you had asked me this question 31 years ago, I know I would have answered it very differently now, because I've experienced thousands of patients on my table. I've worked with surgeons and doctors and researchers and people in the energy medicine field that's now getting a lot of attention and research. And I'm going to tell you, Reiki absolutely is the real deal. And I'm going to get a little scientific now, because I need validation for my brain, my scientific brain, to even want to listen. And when we put barriers up just because we think it's snake oil, which I was there, Mark, and I love these questions because these are the real questions. And I wouldn't call it controversial. I'd call it being authentic and honest and real. That's how we ignite change. Our body is electrical. There are energy fields. Have you ever just had somebody walk into the room and there's an energy about them, or you just get a feeling? This isn't hocus pocus. Our heart, it has an electrical beat. There is energy fields in our body. And when we change, and this is Chinese medicine as well, and I've done a lot of studying on microcurrent point stimulation therapy, which is unbelievable. We could do another whole live about that. Energy is real. And as the scientific thing says, energy can't be created nor destroyed. And when we work with energy, as a Reiki master will, somebody highly trained, it's incredible what can happen. And now what's neat is we're actually seeing changes in wearable tech when people are receiving treatments, when they're actually receiving treatments, and then they're looking at their Apple Watch or at their Aura Ring, and they're physiologically seeing physiological changes in their heart rate and in their cortisol levels. It is real. Now, is everyone out there that on the internet that's talking about oils, and oils have energy and oils have healing properties? Where does pharmacology come from? It comes from herbs and plants. And it doesn't have to just be a pharmaceutical drug, which we've bought into for 40 years. There's a place for that. I've got many friends that are pharmacists, and my health story, which in a minute I'd like to share because it drives the point home. Thank goodness we live in a country where we have conventional medicine to save us when we are sick. But equally true, and is profoundly true, there's a lot, our body is designed to heal itself. It is an unbelievable machine that if you take care of it and you pay attention to it through all kinds of means, and certainly oils, proper oils, not fragrance oils, they have therapeutic benefits, and I've seen firsthand. But you got to find the right team. You got to do your homework, and you got to be invested, which is why I call my call to action is be the CEO of your health. What's a CEO? What's the definition of a CEO? They're leaders. They do their homework. They're open-minded. They're creative. They're resilient. Well, why aren't we that way with our health? We'll be that way in our business, but with our health, we just want a quick fix, and we want to just push things away and not really investigate and find the real information. You can go to PubMed and look at published studies on energy work and on oils. So that's a long answer to say, if you have the right practitioner with the right training, it has a place in the health care toolbox. Is it the only thing we should rely on? Well, of course not. Better together, right? But when it's one of, it can be a very effective tool along with all kinds of other things: nutrition, movement, massage therapy, chiro, mindfulness. We can go on and on and on, but it is a very valuable tool.
All right. Great answer, Mark. Let us know if she answered. I think she answered you. I think so. And in the comments, okay, Linda's bigging you up, Margaret. She says, Margaret taught me that we need many things in our toolbox, and we're better together as one. All right, so Linda's listening to you, Margaret. All right, good.
Linda was dancing with me in her house during the COVID kitchen dance party. That's how I met Linda. So similar to you and I, Linda was going through, it's her story to share, but Linda was going through a really challenging time. And during the COVID lockdown, she came across my daughter and I having the COVID kitchen dance party, and it lifted her spirits. That's how we met. And so just like you and I, there's a reason. And when we use these tools like the platform we're on now or other social media for good, that's how we learn, that's how we grow, that's how we connect. And so thank you, Linda. You know how much I love working with you and alongside you. Linda's doing massive work as well in the health industry, helping others be well. And so if you're not following Linda, everybody, you need to give her a follow.
All right. So the three of you need to get together. You, Margaret, Deanna, and I want to be along for the journey to see what you guys can do and how you help people. Yeah. But it's funny how you say there, Margaret, with you and your kitchen dance parties, because you did that during COVID, and that's how I started the Feel Good Friday dances, which first started off as karaoke, because I figured I was gonna make everybody feel good with my melodious voice. And that lasted about 3 weeks. And then I ended up just moving over to the dancing. And now it's 3 years, right? So it's funny how we were both just trying to spread some joy and kindness to everybody during COVID. That's two things there. That's interesting. Very interesting.
I love that.
Yes. And now I see Deanna saying, yes, pure therapeutic grade oils, not the fragrance one. So that's a big difference, I guess. Well, I obviously, I assume that the difference between therapeutic and fragrance grade oils, big difference there. And she's showing you the love there, Margaret. Deanna's showing you the love.
Thank you.
And Mark says the effect of some herbs are measurable. I agree with that, but I guess I have to see it for myself. I think it's a little hocus pocus going on. And you know what? That's you being authentic and sharing what you think. That's totally fine.
And you know what? And that's being a good critic. And that's what I welcome. Yeah. Do your homework. Get the right people. Investigate rather than just nothing changes if nothing changes. And for 40 years, we've been conditioned in a system to wait till things are broken and then try to patch it back together with pharmacology. There's a place for that. But for centuries, you know, you look at Chinese medicine that's been well studied, acupuncture that's been well studied, quantum physics. I mean, we can talk about quantum physics and energy. There's a great book by Dr. Bruce Lipton. If you need to know that it's not hocus pocus, check out Dr. Bruce Lipton and quantum physics work and it'll come to me. It'll come to me. Incredibly scientifically sound proof of our bodies and them being energetic, and that it has an impact, and we have an impact on one another. So it's so I love people being a critic. You need to be.
Laura, thank you for that. And when you talk about the herbs and the oils and all that, I'm just thinking now, growing up, we used to have the most that we have with using natural things rather than just popping a pill. Growing up, we'd have Cersei, which we'd boil the Cersei tea and drink to clean yourself out. But that's as far as we got. But now I'm, slowly getting to it. There's soursop tea. There's other things that are natural, not just pop a pill when you feel sick. So even now, I'm incorporating that slowly into my life and certain things to do that are natural, rather than just saying, okay, I have gas, let me go get a acid. There's natural things that you can do. So I like that whole, I like that whole thing. But then there's sometimes, and I know if something serious were to happen, I'm not going to try to, it, depending on what it is, I'm not going to try to say, okay, well, there's a time and place for both types of medicine, like you said. Yeah.
Without a doubt. And I think that leads beautifully into sharing very briefly my health story. And why. Yeah, because it speaks volumes to why I'm so passionate and why I've spent 31 years really bringing this forward to the world. And that is this. I mean, as a young girl, I went almost 10 years undiagnosed, being called everything from a hypersensitive only child, a drug-seeking teen, a competitive athlete. I was a gymnast with a nervous stomach, all the things. And I knew in my heart of hearts, there was something seriously wrong with me. I was in absolutely excruciating pain. And I won't go into all the details, but it took to the third year university, and I had great parents that were advocating for me. I was in the hospital more in the first 20 years of my life than most people are in a lifetime. Well, by far. And I'm going to give you sort of an overview of what I've been through, which judging a book by its cover is never the right thing. So I've had 10 surgeries, 4 bowel obstructions, a lung collapse, a fecal transplant, like on Grey's Anatomy, because I almost died from a hospital-borne infection called C. difficile. This was before infections were, so prevalent in the minds of everybody since the pandemic. And my son at the time was 12 years old, and I had a fecal transplant, a poop transplant, which saved my life. And this wasn't hocus pocus. This was done at Calgary Foothills Hospital with Dr. Thomas Louie, head of infectious disease. And now more than 6 gastroenterologists from across the country have interviewed me. And there's now a poop pill to reinstill the good bacteria because what was happening was taking thousands of dollars of antibiotics, which were killing to try to kill the bacteria, but was killing the good flora in my gut. And I was getting sicker and sicker and almost died. And I went through menopause at the age of 39. I'm 56. Why am I telling you this story? Because I am passionate, and this is my life's work. Because if it wasn't for conventional medicine, I wouldn't be speaking to you. I've had surgeries that saved my life. But you're also talking to a woman who's had a fecal transplant, who's been instrumental in pushing back on her system to say it can't just be a pill for nil all the time. And why I don't say alternative medicine. And so what I know to be profoundly true, if it wasn't for conventional medicine, I wouldn't be speaking to you. But if it wasn't for complementary medicine, I wouldn't be speaking to you either. And what I believe is that they're better together, and that I need to be at the center of that wheel. And that's why this CEO of Your Health movement and the launch of this new aspect of my career, Wallace for Wellness 2.0 website is launching tonight. It's to share and empower and educate each and every one of you to recognize that you do play a role in your health. It's time to be accountable, and that we can make a difference. Don't think you can't, because I just told you my story, and I had severe endometriosis. Do you know it was just last year, 40 years later, that a national strategy was even talked about for endometriosis? And there's thousands of women that have suffered. I had bowel obstructions because I had endometrial tissue on my bowel, and on my lung it caused a collapse. And I'm a type A personality that kept pushing through. I can do it because I didn't look sick. And so this comes from a deep place of passion and experience. And I want to be able to help others. That's why Wallace for Wellness grew over the course of 30 years, to have all kinds of healthcare professionals working together, but to put you at the center because you're the most important member of your healthcare team. And that's where my passion comes from.
Oh,
and
wow.
If I can do it, so can you.
Right, right. Yeah, I like that you hammered home once again the whole collaboration over competition. Because even in medicine, you find, people who
Yes.
are they don't really regard alternate complementary medicine. In traditional medicine doesn't regard, um, you know what I'm trying to say. Both of
Yeah,
them
that's
are working.
yes, yes.
Right.
However, it's changing, and I'm so excited to be just last in December in February. I was the visionary behind the first ever Preventative Health Awareness Month, recognized by Health Canada. I put an application. I poured my heart out last December in an application to Health Canada. Told them my personal story. Told them my professional story. Told them that I just closed my clinic so that I could have the time and the bandwidth to do this legacy work. And then I felt, after looking at their website on the health promotion days, that there was a huge gap, that there was all these awareness days for sicknesses, which is important. We need Breast Cancer Awareness Month and we need Autism Awareness Month, but there wasn't a single solitary day or month about prevention, and it is needed. So my pitch was that we needed to have a Preventative Health Awareness Month, and I was going to do it anyways, but I wanted their endorsement of it. I wanted them to say, yes, we'll put it on the website. And in the middle of January, I got a phone call and they said, Margaret, if you've got a website, we think this is an incredible idea. It's going to go up, and you can go to Health Canada Health Promotions page right now, and you will see in February, that's Preventative Health Awareness Month, otherwise known as PHAM, P-H-A-M. And I brought over 40 healthcare professionals, doctors, surgeons, naturopaths, massage therapists, mental health experts, financial health people together, and 28 days in a row, we did free educational campaign on all the social platforms, webinars. We had different themes, everything from suicide and addiction to pain to bone health. And that FAM is now turned into Preventative Health Awareness Movement. And because it's not just about 1 month, it's about a lifestyle and it's about change. And so the FAM is now going to be happening. FAM in 2024 will be in February. I want everybody to tune in and be involved. If you're a practitioner that wants to contribute your expertise, please. We have FAM Cast, which is a podcast on Spotify and iTunes in collaboration with Coachico TV. And you're going to see on the website when it launches tonight, whether you go to wallisforwellness.com or become the CEO of your health.ca, we have a great blog where all different types of professionals are contributing. And really what it's to do is to help you be the CEO of your health. So we're really on a mission, and opportunities like this allow us to get that mission out there even more. And so I'm so excited. We're just getting started.
Oh wow! I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait to see how the movement continues to grow and how you continue to impact people's lives so that they take control of their health and they really become the CEO of their health.
Yes.
So now I have a question for you. You mentioned you have a podcast, a video podcast that's coming out, and what you have coming out as far as getting your message out? What are some of the things that you've done? What are some of the things that you found effective? What are some tips that you can help people, you could share people to help them get their message out, whatever that message is?
So I've been a media spokesperson for big companies, everything from Johnson & Johnson to Icy Hot to all different types. And I mean, I'm a healthcare professional, but one of the reasons it caught my attention when you're doing this Get Visible is because even 30 years ago, when computers weren't even a thing, I, for example, every day for a year faxed. Remember that thing called a fax machine? Faxed a message to the Marilyn Dennis show, the old city line,
Really?
and said, I needed to be on Health and Family Day, and here's why. And I was relentless. I kept going at it. And eventually they thought, who's this crazy person? And they contacted me and said, we'd like to come out and do something with you taped, because it's a live show, but they didn't know who I was. That led to me going live in studio, which led to then me being a regular guest in studio. I'm not a media person. I was a healthcare professional. Why am I telling you this story? Because it speaks to one of the things you just asked me. What do we do as a brand? And it doesn't matter what your brand is or what your message is. In the media training that I've done and in the entrepreneurship journey that I've had for 30 years, here's what I know. Know your message and be passionate about it. Be authentic. Be determined. I faxed Marilyn Dennis for a year straight. I didn't give up. Even you're going to have so many no's. Every no, you fail forward because you're getting closer to a yes. Be authentically who you are and don't try to be something you're not. Be a lifelong learner. I'm now media trained. I know how to, I do keynote speaking engagements. I've done live television. I produce TV. I've done podcasts. I even have an e-learning digital hub that's about to launch, CEO of Your Health Hub, which, by the way, you can have one too. You can white label. So I just want to let people know it's a way to get your message out there. I've got the infrastructure for that. But I'm telling you all this because consistently sharing stories and educating, shift your mindset from selling to educating and connecting. There's a completely different mindset. I can't tell you the number of people, healthcare professionals that I coach or anybody that I speak to. I'm not a salesperson. I can't sell. And I'm confused by it because I don't sell a thing. I build trust. I empower through education and sharing stories. I connect just like I did with you. And over time, when you build trust, then the sale, whatever that sale is for you, it comes. Does it take time and consistency? You bet it does. Does it feel like work? Sometimes. But I will tell you, a lot of the times it doesn't, because if you're doing something you love authentically, even on the hard days when you're hitting your head against the wall, or you're going live at 10 o'clock at night because you made a commitment to yourself and you did it. That's critically important. And know that those foundational pieces that you're doing, the small wins, lead to bigger ones. And that you really do need to have those opportunities to fail, because it's not a straight trajectory forward in life and in business and in marketing. So I think it's critically important to do that. Be vulnerable. So from that perspective, do something. In my work life, I try at least once a week to do something that challenges me and makes me uncomfortable. Because I always say, live where the butterflies are, because that's where growth happens. If we're staying in our own lane all the time and we're just comfortable, well, that's not growth. How does a rock change to be shiny and gorgeous and it morphs? It's from the water that's been banging at it for years. It morphs it into something else. Well, if you don't do that for yourself and challenge yourself, you don't evolve and change. So challenge yourself and get vulnerable doing it. Find your community, lean into support, get a mentor. I do business coaching for people in the healthcare space. You do coaching for people in marketing. It's important. I had a coach. We all need to have a coach. So that's really important. There's some tips. I could go on and on. I'd love to do a whole thing with you on media training, which really is communication tips. Because there's a lot when you do live television or when you're a media spokesperson, you have to understand how to emote through the camera authentically and be yourself. But because once a camera goes on, a lot of people get really scared. And now, since we have these tools, but here's the problem. A lot of people are using their digital tools in ways maybe that don't serve them because they don't understand what they're doing. And that can be detrimental to your brand. But with a little bit of training and coaching, it can be a huge difference to elevate your brand, but also to amplify your message, which is exactly what we get successfully.
Well, I'm putting that on my calendar as soon as we're done, because we definitely have to come back to do that. Yeah. Talk all about that and really drop some game so that by the end of our time together, everybody's just ready to get out and shine on whatever stage or camera that they need to be on. So that would be great. And what you were just saying.
And let's manifest in the Greater Toronto Area doing one day a live get together where we have different areas where people can actually try to do this kind of stuff. This intimidates so many people, and it doesn't have to. If we could actually have a workshop where we're going to put the camera on you and help you. I've had extensive media training because I represented big brands, and it was intimidating when you've got a camera on you and Johnson & Johnson's paying the bill for you to be media trained. It's scary.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be. And so if we build a community of support, I mean, maybe we can do something like a live get together one time and actually have a workshop for a group of entrepreneurs. I'd love to do that. I'm just dreaming and scheming and manifesting things for the future, Laura.
I am digging that. And it's funny, I'm digging this. And I remember my conversation with Mark on Monday. We're talking about the whole video. Matter of fact, Mark, I just want you to know a little side note, Margaret.
Yeah.
Mark called me out a little bit, although I called myself out even before we started because it was so dark where I was set up. And he was like, boy, Laura, you on Wi-Fi? You doing live stream on Wi-Fi? And he called me up on that. So Mark, how am I doing? Am I a little bit brighter? I am connected, plugged in directly. Tell me that I'm doing better, Mark. So Mark is really good with doing live streams and video, and he was giving me some game after we were finished. So thank you so much, Mark, for that. Okay, but yes, definitely. This is not the first time we're going to be doing something together, Margaret. Not at all.
I love it.
And now I want to learn, before we wrap up, you mentioned your website. I want you to tell everybody about your website. I want you to tell everybody once again about the podcast TV show that's coming out. And then I want you to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you so they can connect. First of all, you definitely have to connect with Margaret. If you're watching this and you're not connected with Margaret, drop her a connection request. Say, hey, I saw you on Let's Get Visible with Laura. You need to connect, right? So definitely connect with her. So tell us these three things: your website, the TV podcast show, and how people can get a hold of you. And anything else you have coming up. All of that. Yeah. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Laura. Yes, I'd be thrilled. So it's great timing because later tonight or by tomorrow morning, the Wallis for Wellness 2.0 website will be launching. Wallis is spelled W-A-L-L-I-S. It's a little different, like Wallace Simpson. WallisForWellness.com, or if you go to becometheCEOofyourhealth.ca, it'll redirect you to WallisForWellness.com. When you land on WallisForWellness.com, you're going to see that there's something there for everyone. If you're an individual wanting to be the CEO of your health and you want to stock your preventative health toolbox, there's going to be something there for you. Everything from the CEO of your health hub to our podcast called Famcast, available on Spotify and iTunes. And if you subscribe to Cogeco, it's on Cogeco television as well. We've got a great lineup of guests. It's already out there, but we're bringing on all kinds of guests, from doctors to surgeons to, you know what, maybe Mark, maybe I'll have a Reiki master on so that we can teach people more. I love to share broadly. There's going to be something for everyone. Financial health. So we're really excited about that. Join the family. There's calls to action on the website, so you can make sure you stay in touch. If you're a practitioner and you want to get coaching with me, or you want to host a bone scan in your clinic, or in your community, or in your home, there's something there. And then of course, workplace, and the workplace wellness piece is coming. I do a lot of corporate wellness speaking. We do a lot of retreats. So the whole customized workplace wellness program is there. You're going to see on the website information about our blog, which is going to be a free resource for everyone, where you're really getting top-notch healthcare professionals from across the board: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual well-being, even financial well-being. Stuff about the Preventative Health Awareness Month coming up. So you want to make sure you're on our database, so then when we've got free webinars, you're in the know. And what else do I got coming up? Oh, this is so much fun. So a month, in October the 20th, it's World Osteoporosis Day. And my colleague, Megan Burmester from OsteoSound, and I, who have brought this new innovative bone health technology to Canada from Italy. It is a disruptor. It's a Health Canada approved bone health analysis tool that really blows DEXA, the current OHIP covered bone density test, out of the water for many reasons. A, it has less errors. B, there's no radiation. C, it's mobile and can be taken anywhere. We have scanned in businesses, we've scanned in homes, we've scanned in seniors places, we're going to be scanning on a boat. It can go anywhere. It's available preventatively for 21 and older instead of the DEXA. It doesn't make sense to me, Laura, when we think about it. Peak bone mass happens at the age of 30, but we don't qualify for a bone density test under OHIP till we're 65. But here's typically what happens. People find out they have osteoporosis once they fracture, when they've literally already broken something. But if we know in advance, you want to know how you can be preventative, both men and women from 21 and older, your musculoskeletal health, and this is my wheelhouse of passion, is the foundation of all health. If you can't move, you don't move. Your immunity is impacted. If your muscles aren't good, your bones aren't good. If you fall and fracture, we know the stats in this country, it is not good. Fractures in seniors are usually the beginning of the end. And we want to know what our bone health is like, because bone health is impacted by so much underlying conditions like thyroid, diabetes, cancer. If you're asthmatic, taking steroids, if you've had gut issues, if you're diabetic, so if you've had cancer. But instead we wait until we find out we have osteoporosis. So we are doing a good vibrations tour. We're going to be rocking to the Beach Boys, free of charge, thanks to Meradyne, low intensity vibration plate. We are taking the Meradyne, the OsteoSound REMS bone scan, and our knowledge to seniors' homes to educate seniors on falls prevention, on fracture prevention, let them try out the vibration plate, totally free of charge as a lead up to World Osteoporosis Day. So we're going to 8 seniors' homes in Ontario. We haven't filled all 8 spots. So if you have a connection, anybody out there in the Greater Toronto Area or across Ontario, you want us to come to your senior's home, reach out to me, because we still have spots available to do it. It's completely free and it's going to be fun. So stay tuned on social media. Follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, CEO of Your Health on Instagram, REMS Wellness on Instagram, TikTok, because you're going to see us having some fun with our Bonita, our bone buddy. She's coming along with us. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we're going to educate and empower as we do it, and it's free. So much is coming. I'm a little excited, as you can probably tell.
I can tell, and that's great. That is, wow, you have me excited. You have me excited. So thank you for sharing that. And everybody, if you have a senior's home, you heard Margaret, just definitely connect with her and get your senior's home to take one of those, or get that chance to take one of those slots. Might as well. That's great.
Yeah.
And Margaret, did you say how everybody can get a hold of you?
So you can go to the website. You can reach out there. You can certainly, so wallisforwellness.com. If you want to call, you can 647-577-4757, whether you want to book a workplace wellness program, whether you want to have a bone scan, maybe you want business coaching if you're a practitioner or someone that's an entrepreneur and wants to have some help from a veteran like me in entrepreneurship. I'm here for you. You can follow us on all the social channels, CEO of Your Health on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Twitter. I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere. I don't know how you have time to do all of that, but I'm so glad you're everywhere. And I'm so glad that you're actually making a difference and helping people like me take care of their health and be the CEO of their health. So thank you for all of the work that you're doing. When you say that you're a preventative health visionary, 1000%. I mean, that's your name. And I really appreciate it. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you supporting. I appreciate you being here. And as my dad said, the best is yet to come, because we've done this and we're going to do more together to impact people's lives on a big scale. So thank you so much, Margaret. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Laura. It's been a real pleasure and an honor, and keep up the great work. I'm on the sidelines cheering you on. I think it's wonderful. Thanks for the opportunity.
I appreciate it. All right, cool. So I'm going to say bye to you, Margaret. I'm going to do some closing remarks, and then everybody say bye to Margaret. Make sure you connect with her. All right. Now, one is, oh yeah. Hey. Let's do it together. Ready?
Okay.
Let's
Yep.
get this. Okay,
Visible.
1, 2, 3. Let's get visible.
Visible.
Visible. I wanna get visible. Get into visible. Boy, oh boy. That's what happens when both of our Wi-Fi speeds are off. It just seems like we're. Do you remember during COVID when, at least I know for me, I remember there was one church service when we're doing Zoom and everybody's singing and everybody's Wi-Fi speeds are all different and everybody is all off and it sounded really bad. We're gonna have to get together to do a Feel Good Friday dance.
You bet.
Maybe I'll join you for kitchen one and we'll do one for a Friday, okay?
I'm in. Thanks.
All right. All right. Take care. All right. Now, wasn't that fantastic? Wasn't that? Thank you so, Mark. Yes, it makes me think too. This show made me think there's so much value, so much knowledge and that Margaret was dropping, so much passion. So I appreciate that. This was a great. And Mark, okay, let me tell you the funny thing. I thought that 52 minutes you and I spent together on Thursday talking because you were just dropping so much game about insurance and about podcasting and live streaming. I never thought, look, 56 minutes, here we are. Oh my gosh, I just got the best experts that love to talk and share value, not just talk about themselves, but talk and give value. So thank you so much, Margaret, for being here. Thank you so much, Mark, for being here on Monday. And Deanna and Linda, thank you so much, all of you, for being part of the show. And now, if you are on Team Memorex, make sure you drop the comments. Drop some comments and tell us what you learned, any takeaways, any questions you had from Margaret. Make sure that you connect with her. And we're going to be back again to do something big really soon, really soon. And so I think on that note, I have to run to Long and McQuaid because my boy is on my case about trading in his bass guitar. That's a whole other story, but it's a story that I love. But I'm going to go to Long and McQuaid and deal with his bass guitar and get ready for their sale that they're having. One day I want to talk about that because I mentioned before, yes, my son's on the spectrum. And one of the things that he loves is music. He is an avid drummer. If you are on YouTube, matter of fact, not if you're on YouTube, go on YouTube and follow him and show him some love at I'm Possible Kyle. Spelt Impossible Kyle, because you can't have an apostrophe in a YouTube channel name, but it really is I'm Possible Kyle. And show him some love. Subscribe. He's on a journey to get 1,000 subscribers. Right now he's at 195, but he'd love the subscription, everybody to subscribe and then to like and comment on his videos because he really wants this drum set that is close to $10,000 that I'm not going to buy. So he's on a mission to become sponsored by Pearl or Tama or one of these drum companies. All right. So why did I tell you all that? Because I'm on my way out of here to go help him with his music. There was a reason why I was talking to you about that, but you know what? I'll remember what it is later. And I'll share that on another episode. All right. My journeys with my son. It is so good. It is so good. But to what Margaret said, once I started speaking about my journey, I was able to help other people to let them know that they weren't alone in their journey of getting diagnosis for their kids or raising a child that's on the spectrum. We're all in it together. We're all in it together. All right. I think that's all I have to say. So I'm going to be out of here, but I want you to have a wonderful, amazing day. Who do we have on tap for tomorrow? Well, tomorrow we have my partner in crime as far as book writing and getting your book published, Susan Fromstein. She is going to be joining us tomorrow at noon. We're having a book workshop, November 11th, Saturday, November 11th. Check my posts as soon as this is done, because I'm going to post it. Because Saturday, November 11th from 10 to 4, we're going to be having a book workshop. We want to help you get your idea out of your head and onto the page and be able to share your knowledge and share your expertise and share your passions with the world. And a great way to do that is by writing a book. That's a great way to get visible. I got so much visibility when I did my 2 workbooks for kids, and we want to help you get your books written too. So tomorrow, Susan's going to be joining me. We're going to be talking about all of that. So you have to tune in for that. And I'm still working on not saying so's. I think I've said it about 5-6 times already. Yeah, I don't even know what to say now because I want to say so. But I'm going to say nothing. Until tomorrow, have a wonderful day, my friend. Comment, share this. Definitely share this because I know people need to hear what Margaret was talking about earlier, and I'm off. So until then, let's get visible, visible. I want to get visible.